Do third world countries manifest their own poverty? Are they bound in a perpetual existence of disease, poverty, distress, to which they cannot, as a society, escape? And should we be concerned with their state of being? I continued on. Like you've stated, you may find wellness in any situation as an individual. So should we thus be concerned for their societies as a whole, or should we be concerned with our own realities and hope that the individual finds his way?
Well, there are a lot of people that don't like this answer, but this is the answer that we always give, and it's the thing that we most want you to understand. So let's say that you are across the world and you're focused upon such a society, or maybe a section of your own society in which people are suffering in some way. And as you give your attention to it, you feel terrible. Well, the reason you feel terrible is because you and others like you, and especially them, have created a vortex version of improvement that they have not yet quite figured out how to live. Because they are still of the world, they are all wrapped up in it, they are often so focused in their own plight that their own plight, what they are observing, is dictating their own energy flow. So they cannot get to their own solutions that they have already created vibrationally. So now, what part do you want to play? As you are a world citizen, someone who cares about all people, someone who wants to uplift, and you're looking at this situation, and your news medias make it easy for you to see intimately some of these things. As you are not involved in it personally, but still involved in it vibrationally because you are giving it your attention, now you can tell by the way you feel whether your attitude, your perspective, your opinion about this right now, this red hot minute, while you're watching and feeling, jives or harmonizes with the source within you. It's our promise to you that the source within you and the source within all of them is not focused upon their plight, because you can't get to where you want to be under those conditions. So when you feel negative emotion as a result of what you're observing, as you feel that worry or concern or fear or even guilt or blame, as you are focused upon their plight, you can tell, if you are wise enough to know what your guidance system is telling you, that you're not in sync with the solution, you are still in sync with the problem, and therefore you are of no value whatsoever. Now, there are many who say, well, Abraham, do you just want us to put our head in the sand? And we say, no, we want you to get your head out of the sand and in vibrational alignment with their solution or with any solution, and you find that by reaching for your own clarity and your own alignment and your own joy. Well, then some might say to you, well, how can you be joyful when they are suffering? And we say, you can't suffer enough to help somebody who's suffering be well. You cannot get poor enough to help poor people thrive. You cannot get sick enough to help sick people get well. Law of attraction is the opposite of that. You've got to, and maybe you might be the only one, and only one is enough, you might be the only one who's focused from this time-space reality upon their solution. And you can tell that you are focused upon their solution because you are feeling elation at the prospect of the recovery that they are finding, you see. And so you send a stream that might make it easier for them to find. There's just no other way around it. We're not saying don't go help. What we're saying is find alignment and then. Find alignment and then. Find alignment and then you'll be inspired. Find alignment and then you'll get an idea about an invention. Find alignment and then you'll be in the right place at the right time where you can offer some influence that could make a real difference to someone. But you cannot wallow in their discord and find any advantage for them. Jerry, when he was a teenager, was a lifeguard in New Orleans on Lake Pontchartrain. And his instructor said to him, Jerry, sometime you may be in a situation where you will have to let someone drown. And Jerry said, I could never do that. Could never do that. What's the point of being a lifeguard if you let someone drown? And the lifeguard instructor said to him, sometimes there will be someone in such a panic, they will overpower you. And if they drowned you, then they too will drown, and you will not be there for anyone else after that. And it's sort of like that. If you don't do what you can do to keep yourself in alignment, you have nothing of value to give anyone anyway, you see. And one who's connected to the stream and focused upon something is more powerful than millions who are not. You do not understand the power of your focus and the value of your sincere interest in what's going on with people. But you want to be sure that Other than in the beginning, when you're first getting to know them and figuring out what it is that would be of value to them, you've got to focus upon the solution, not the problem. Because the vibration of the solution and the vibration of the problem are worlds apart. And the vibration of the solution is where your inner being is. And if you don't focus upon the solution with your inner being, then when you focus, you've got puny, paltry, little offering of vibration. You don't help at all. And then you go and you suffer and you sacrifice and you muck around in the mud with them, and sometimes you feel more virtuous for doing it, but nothing good ever comes from that. Get in your power and then use your power. Yeah.
Abraham, do you have emotional feelings or these natures that we do as humans have? Jealousy, anger, happiness, excitement?
Because of our vibrational discipline would be the best way to say it.
Okay.
We do not have any emotions that you would describe in those negative terms. However, there is always a variance in emotion, because there is always guidance, because there is always more. So even for those like us, we are still reaching with you for more, and we are disciplined in our attention to what we are focused upon in order to move toward what is wanted rather than toward what is. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
From your physical time-space reality vantage point, you could not perceive the vibrational variance in what we are perceiving. Whether the range of emotions is agony and joy, or whether it's more joy and a little less joy, it is irrelevant, because it's only the perceiver that's utilizing the guidance. It really doesn't matter. One day Esther was watching something sort of like what you were describing about a plight that was happening to people in another part of the world, and as she watched it, she was so upset she couldn't stay standing. As she was walking through the room, she actually sat down. She could not stand how she was feeling. And she said, Abraham, if I feel this bad just watching that on television, what must it be like for those people who are living it? And we said, they don't feel as bad right now as you do, because they are accustomed to that range of emotions. In other words, they've acclimated to what they're living. And so what they're living and what they're wanting isn't as far apart as what you're watching them live and what you're wanting for them. So Esther had much more gap in her vibrational emotional scale as she was focused upon them than they did, you see. And so what we want you to hear from us is that the range or the degree of the gap is not so important as the awareness that there is one. And as you become determined to focus and close that gap so that you are predominantly in concert with your broader perspective, you will become addicted to alignment. There is a high from that you have not achieved in any other way. There's a high in clarity and a high in that love. There's a feeling of elation that is indescribable in consistent human terms when you get tuned in like that, but it is available to all of you, you see. But you have to care about how you feel, and you have to know, you have to understand what the process is. You have to know that the larger part of you is there holding that vibrational frequency, and that it is your job from your human perspective to tune to it, because it will not tune to where you are. That's sort of what your question implied. One day Esther was not feeling so good, and she knew why, and she said, Abraham, come over here with me for just a little while and give me some relief. And she knew she was kidding. She knew we weren't coming. She knew the absurdity of that statement, but she also knew that if we were not holding such high standards of well-being, that her mucking around in not well-being wouldn't be so painful. And we said, Esther, you can't go back. You know too much. You know too much. She's thinking about putting it on your disclaimers that you sign before you come into such a place. You're going to learn stuff and you can't go back. You're going to discover that you're going to know for a while that you are the creator of your own reality, and you're going to know that what you think matters a lot, and you're going to know that your emotions really matter. And for a while, negative emotion is really going to bug you more than it ever has before, because you're going to know what it means. You're out of sync with your own vortex, with your own desire. More important and better said, you're out of sync with who you really are, with who you have really become. You're allowing a gap between you and you that should not be tolerated by any of you. You shouldn't put up with it. Esther would say, well, I can stand a little orneriness and I can stand a little overwhelmment, but there are some things I really cannot stand. And so there were some things that were so painful when she thought about them that she learned not to ever think about them again. And then one night she was visiting with a friend, and they got talking about some of that stuff. And Esther sort of just opened up, sort of described some things that she had lived through. And the next morning when she woke up, she could hardly walk because it had been such a debilitating experience to hold herself for a couple of hours out of sync with who she really is. And she thought, boy, I'm not ever going to do that again. And we say, we'd like you to feel that way about overwhelmment. We'd like you to feel that way about jealousy or about competition. We'd like you to feel that way about guilt or blame. We'd like you to feel that way about anything that doesn't feel really great. We'd like you to say, it's not worth it. I'm going to tune myself differently because I can. Because I can. Because you can. Just take some practice. Don't try to do it all at once, and start with easy things.
What benefit, Abraham, do you have to come through us to our physical universe? What benefit is it to you from beyond, from the source, from... Because we are, like you say, we came into this world with all our intentions and our beliefs and all our, what we
Not all of
believe is
them.
true.
You came with some, but you came with the full intent of discovering others. You intended this to be a ground of discovery of your own evolution. And not because it needed to be done, but because it's fun.
True. It is very fun.
Because it's fun to do. Because it's fun to discover something. Don't you know that fresh feeling of desire? That feeling of waking up and really wanting to do something? And if that desire of wanting to do it is coupled with a belief that you can, that's life-giving. That's how you felt when you decided to come and when you came. That's how you're supposed to feel all the time. So ask your question again.
What benefit is it to you, Abraham, to come into our existence, our physical existence here on this earth, with humans?
How satisfying it is for us, how exhilarating it is for us to see you discover contrast and to watch you discover your personal approach to improvement. And then we get to feel the launching of that rocket, and then we get to focus on it. It gets to be our reality long before it is yours. So we get to revel in the new expansion of the universe that you have provided, just like we're doing right now with the questions that you're asking. So here's this new, fresh desire. The universe has expanded, and we're reveling in it. And then we get to stand there, because we're disciplined and practiced, holding the vibrational frequency of that, rooting for you to find your place within it too. And when you miss, we don't care. But when you find it, we revel with you, and you feel the goosebumps. Some of you are getting them right now, aren't you? You feel the goosebumps rippling through you as you come into full alignment, not just with what you have wanted, but with who you really are and with us. So there's nothing that you can expand to that isn't our experience as well. So how is it that we're all in this together? You said, I'll go into the contrast where there's more discovery. And we said, and we'll stay in the pure alignment where there's more steady. And together we will take thought beyond that which it has been before. So you launch it. We ride the rocket with you. We hold the frequency of it. We give our undivided attention to what you want. We hold it so steady that if you deviate, and you are aware at all, you feel your own deviation. So you can tell what source feels, even though society may be saying something entirely different, or your parents may be saying something different, or your peers may be saying something different, or even your laws and rules may be saying something different. You can feel when you find that alignment. And when you find that alignment, it's an alignment of well-being. You have universal forces assisting you, opening doors for you, inspiring you, watching out for you, giving you impulses. In other words, when you get tuned in, you live this charmed life that everyone wants to live, but it's not charmed in the sense that others aren't. It's charmed in the sense that you get to be joyful all of the time, feeling your empowerment and your clarity. Esther cannot find enough words to express the feeling of exhilaration that we feel as you are in this constant, eternal motion forward. To get it done, no, for the experience of moving in it, because we never get it done, and you can't get it wrong, and we never get it done, and you can't get it wrong, and you never get it done, and you can't get it wrong, and we never get it done, and we can't get it wrong, and we never get it done, and we can't get it wrong, we never get it done, we never get it done, we never get it done. Contrast keeps presenting itself and new desires. Does that make you tired? If it makes you tired, then you're in resistance. If it makes you feel tired, then you're still of the mindset that you got to solve these problems and get that out of the way. But once you catch the spirit of this and you start riding the wave of this powerful energy, then you stand in a moment in time, looking around your world, seeing the perfection of it, in part because it is pretty perfect around you, but mostly because you're tuned to the perfection, and that's what you see, and that's what you see, and that's what you feel. In other words, you are those who love. Loving is your most natural state of being.